Madman, stage left. The audience rises and holds their breath. They let the vampires into their house, pretend they don't see when the teeth come out. Put a band-aid on their throat. No one wants to rock the boat, and no one wants to talk about it. You're not supposed to talk about it. The curtain rises and the players come out. Webs of lies spinning from their mouths. Start looking, listen for a little while. Attention to the men behind the curtain. Just look away when you see the blood spurting down to a steady drip. I promise to leave you a little bit. I'll be back for another drink tomorrow. I love the taste of your terror and your sorrow bathing in your blood. It's never enough. On the face of all mankind, our numbers up and the dead for the time. Go along to get along in the time by the siren song. The graves are empty and the crypts are cracking open. The hordes upon you and you stand there frozen, waiting for the word. Stand in line and wait. Don't follow the strings to find out who is pulling. Just drink your poison, keep on laughing and drooling, eating your own flesh. The master always knows what's best. Worldwide genocide. The overlords of hungry parasites. They point the finger and the eagles fly. Raining fire, children die. Starving plague, paralyzed. A pile of bodies rotting, covered in fire. But no one wants to talk about it. Strings, no more bowing to the master. I tried to run, but they only came faster. Now I stand my ground. I ain't backing down. Silver bullets in my pistol, in my holster. My will is strengthened and my confidence is bolstered. Don't test my resolve. Don't test my resolve.
Hello and welcome to the Iron Mountain Hour. It is Sunday, June the 12th, 2022. You're here for episode 39, where we're going to get into the Ark of the Covenant, based on Raiders of the Lost Ark being released, what was it, 41 years ago today? I think that's what it was. But we are going to go into the Ark of the Covenant and in the movie and in history and in the Bible. And we're also going to have Tim tell us a little bit about why you shouldn't be able to vote if you live in cities. I'm looking forward to hearing this. How's it going, guys?
Okay. Hey. Hold on.
Oh, Dustin's out of frame, man. We're going to have to work
I didn't make
that.
the cut.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go over here and readjust this thing a little bit because the whole thing's off.
This camera over here?
Yeah, so did y'all watch Raiders of the Lost Ark?
I have watched it. I didn't rewatch it.
Yeah, I've not rewatched it. No.
I decided to raw dog it, just go in from memory. He's doing like a math test or something. I need to kind of study for that. But pop culture and things like that, it's like wedged so deep in my brain I couldn't get it out if I want to. It's taking up vast amounts of space. I wish it wasn't, but there it is. Like the way the guy's face melts at the end. That's just in there. I'm like, oh, okay. Been remembering since that I was like 7.
Yeah, that's one of the key things that you remember about it, actually. I think anybody that watches that movie for the first time, hey, Dalton US or Daltonus, how's it going? It's going pretty good, man. How you doing? I'm glad you're joining us. We're up to, 320-some subscribers now. YouTube gave us a big congratulations, said, hey, that means people like your channel. So thank you, guys. We appreciate that. If you like what we're talking about, go ahead and give us a like on this video, share it around to somebody else that you think might like it, and subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when we're live. It's every Sunday, Wednesday at 10 p.m. So you can catch us, you can jump in the chat. We want to hear what you think about what we're talking about, and we want to get ideas from you about other things we can talk about, and maybe you could tell us things that we didn't know, or bring other things to our attention. So I think it'd be cool. The more you get in here and talk with us, the better the show is, I think. Eventually we want to have a way for you to call in. We don't really have that right now. Skype is okay. We might try that a little bit tonight. If we might try to take some Skype calls and
You can
see if that'll work.
And also, when you get us to 400 subscribers, Tim will wrestle a bear.
But what he means by bear is just a big gay guy. We're just gonna hug. We're like, ooh! So our version of wrestling's gonna be real weird.
That's going to be uncomfortable for everybody
That
involved.
band I wrestled a bear once doesn't have the same meaning once you realize that the members are gay.
For Tim, the bear, and for everybody involved. I've never heard the band I wrestled a bear once. I don't think I knew there was. Is it a real like a hardcore type band?
I don't remember. They came out like probably
It's-
2006ish. They're
Kind of spastic. Their stuff was more
there you
spaz.
go, spastic. There you go.
But
Kind of reminded me of like Under Oath or something.
No, way
yeah,
less.
just way more spazzy.
way
Like,
way spazzier though.
like if you took Under Oath and mixed them with like the old Norma Jean.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Except
Norma
even
Jean, yeah,
more-
that's kind of maybe better what I was thinking
Probably
of.
more of old the Chariot was a little
I
closer.
remember the Chariot. First time I saw a guy do a backflip from just like not even like off the drums, just like standing.
Yeah.
I always thought he was gonna like. I'm pretty sure. No. I'm thinking of Family Force 5. I was thinking of the guy with the big
Oh,
Hulk
yeah.
face for a second with the microphone shoved down his side. But the Chariot did the backflip too.
Hell yeah.
The Chariot was one of
And-
those shows when you got done, you were like, how you guys have to be either in incredible shape or all on some crack or something. Because it's just like they're vibrating the whole time and slinging like old school Dillinger Escape blend.
Yeah. I remember seeing a band called the Coffin Cats. It was spelled with K, and they did like dark rockabilly kind of stuff.
Okay.
And these
Coffin
guys, they had a great big. We opened for them one time with Hanging Judges. I can't remember if we did with Pillbillies or not.
Nope.
But these guys were pretty cool, and they had a great big doghouse bass, and I wondered why they had it reinforced with steel. And then I shortly found out.
Doghouse bass is reinforced.
Yeah, they had it reinforced with like sheet metal across the joints at the bottom of it. And later on in the show, they start jumping up on top of this bass and spinning it around while they're playing on it. They pass it back and forth between the guitar player and the bass player. They like reach around one another, give each other a good old reach around while they play the bass and the guitar, switching
All
instruments.
almost like
That's nature
pogo
intended.
stick.
Yeah, and they're climbing around on it, rocking it on the side of the bass. I mean, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I'd never seen anybody work a bass like that. If you're into that kind of stuff, it was a hell of a show, and they didn't stop they played for about 35, 40 minutes just nonstop like that. It was pretty wild. And they're good musicians too. They put on a good
I
show.
have to look it up, see if I can find them on the tube.
But how you were saying with I Wrestled a Bear once, do you know Spirit Box?
I don't know them.
Okay,
maybe.
I was about to say they're modern. It's like they're the second vocalist for My Wrestled a Bear once. She's the vocalist for Spirit Box.
Okay. I was kidding. I don't know that that's what the name of the band is. I was referring to large, hairy gay men being referred to as bears in the LGBT.
Yeah, I got it.
For anybody that missed it. or they could just be really big Owen Benjamin fans.
Hey, did you see where Postmates put out an ad where they were telling you what kind of foods to eat if you were going to be bottoming in gay sex? Postmates is a food delivery service, and they apparently decided that their customers needed to hear how, what kind of foods they should eat to avoid, well, how can I say this politely?
Backdoor invasion.
There you go. Against the backdoor escape during a backdoor invasion, I guess we would say. But yeah, I thought that was something
That's an
something
interesting
crazy.
ground to tread on with advertising, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
Weird thing to connect.
I understand. I understand it.
Speaking of advertising,
We have a business change.
Oh, is that right?
Well, we're going to LLC.
Okay.
Tammy has decided to up her game.
Okay.
She's making good money now.
All right.
It is no longer Tammy Hubbard's Custom Sex Toys. It is
Okay.
now TAT.
I thought it was Tammy's Dildos. What's TAT?
Tammy's Artisanal Toys.
Oh, okay. Well, hey guys, thanks. That means that you guys have been really buying those things and supporting our sponsor, Tammy's. Michael Crow says, please eat all the beans you can for the backdoor fund. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure what Foods Postmates recommended. I just thought it was pretty funny that they had done that and people were
Yeah, it's just
commenting
weird.
on it. And
It's a
I
weird one.
actually saw the video in my Twitter timeline, but I didn't watch it. And it did say, like, we don't feel like enough emphasis is being put on, gay sex, especially bottoms. So we decided, or specifically bottoming, so we decided to
They
make a
said
video.
that
About it.
out
Yeah,
loud.
Postmates account on Twitter said that. So,
Okay.
yeah, that's if that's what you're into, man. I
Weird
mean,
thing to bring up. In
yeah,
a-
sure. I mean, I guess they figure
So do they have a course
Bring
for
us some business.
bottom feeders?
Oh, I don't know. Dustin
gonna
can't,
keep
Dustin
that.
can't resist.
I'm not going to add anything to it.
Dustin can't resist the pun at all.
Well, that's a real term, in case you're wondering.
Yeah. Oh, is it really? Okay. Well,
Well,
my innocence is broken.
yeah.
Also a song
Shattered.
by the band I Sat on a Face Once.
I had a few stories here. I had, this one they were talking about several years ago.
Can they see this?
No, I haven't pulled it up yet.
I won't read
I can
that.
pull it up
That's,
there.
That's
That's-
I've heard that before. That's why
Well, I
I'll
can.
let you pull it up.
I can. Well, no, you can spoil it up.
well, that
I
was
can.
in 7-Up way back in the day.
I can.
Well, they think a lot of it is because people, when they get done with their medicines, they just flush them down the sink or in the toilet, not knowing that all that water goes into like what they call a gray water filter or brown water or whatever.
Well, what we're talking about specifically is lithium being added as a microdose into drinking water. It says.
Okay, never mind. I read that wrong.
No, it says as a suicide prevention measure. And if you remember, if you watched like InfoWars or David Icke or any of
Where's
these
that, though?
crazy conspiracy people, well, this was a study that they did in Santiago, Chile, at the University of Chile, I believe.
Did they do it like, is it a controlled study? Like,
Yeah,
what's
that's
the population.
That's,
and all that?
well, I don't know that they.
I guess we could avoid the details. and just
This is not
wonder-
the study. This is a paper proposing that they do a study on that to see if it would decrease the
I got you.
suicide rate. But if you remember, Alex Jones was saying that probably 10 to 15 years ago. He was also showing papers where they had talked about things like this, and people were calling him crazy. Well, here it is: lithium being proposed in the drinking water. Make everybody happy all the time.
No.
You don't think?
No, it wouldn't, because it's not like when you start talking with psych meds, it's not like the whole population would react exactly the same to one thing. So if you just want to start giving lithium to the entire population, the only people that might possibly benefit are the ones that are bipolar or
Yeah.
not speaking for. I'm just saying, like, that's the only thing I've ever heard. Lithium, you can't take lithium as someone who has seasonal affective disorder.
There's a reason these things are
yeah.
prescribed and not just given to everybody.
Yeah, so I don't know what the blanket would be there.
So let's not worry that we are. Let's look at not look at the economic causes. Let's not look at the societal problems and the cultural problems that are causing people to want to commit suicide. Let's try to drug them and stop them from doing it.
Well, it's you could do the Portugal approach would be better.
What's that?
They did the thing before, way before, I guess years before Portland, which is where we're getting ready to go to. They just legalized everything. It's like, well, if everybody's already like shooting battery acid under their eyelids and shit, let's just legalize everything, and maybe they'll stop doing that and do the weed or something instead. Because that's how bad it got.
I've often said, I'm not a favor of government programs or anything, but when you look at the costs of fighting the war on drugs versus what if they just opened a freaking neighborhood pharmacy that was for free where you could get hard drugs in every neighborhood. I mean, the cost of that would surely be less than the cost that they spend fighting drugs and the crimes caused by drugs. You know what I mean? Because most people who are doing drug crimes are doing it to either make money selling the drugs, or two, to be able to afford the drugs. So if you take both of those things out of the equation,
Well, prohibition always makes things
exactly.
worse. Like we were like, we talked Al Capone, but we never talked about Jake. You talked about Jake Leg. Never mind.
Yeah, we did.
That's what happened because of prohibition. You don't hear like Budweiser getting sued because people went blind from their product these days because you're allowed to openly make it. When you're allowed to openly make it and sell it, you can, make it properly.
That's right.
So,
Well, I'm not saying they should do that. I'm just saying maybe that would be even a better alternative to what we have doing now. So, because a lot of people like to blame, the you see stuff like San Francisco where the drugs are used openly and they're out in the streets and everything. But it's like the people that around here are using the drugs are using them anyway. The people in San Francisco were using the drugs anyway. It still doesn't mean it should be acceptable to go around fucked up in the streets shitting all over yourself. You got to draw the line at that stuff. But for people possessing the drugs and using them in their homes or using them in a safe setting, it seems like you could leave those people alone and maybe even, give people who have that problem or even, the rare person who does it recreationally, the freedom to do so. I mean, this is America. But when you get out and you start, shitting all over the sidewalks and stuff like that, that seems like that should be an arrestable offense anywhere you go.
They took, like I said, we should probably change the theme of the show to balance at some point because I keep coming back to that, or my segment anyway.
Well, we're going into yours.
There's a difference between we should feel sympathy for these people because you don't know what they're going through, thus why they're on drugs this bad and you're not. There's a difference between feeling sympathy for people and allowing them to have their fix and being so stupidly sympathetic. They're like, oh, he's taking a shit in the street. Poor guy. No, you say go in the alley and take a shit like a homeless person with dignity used to do behind the dumpster. Yeah. Because now, the homeless people are just like, well, not even homeless, it's just the open. Because I don't even want to shit on the homeless when it gets to this point. There's a difference between a guy who, what was it, Gloria that used to be around here. Yeah. And a guy who's just been like, you know what? Nah, I'm going to take a dump right here at this red lot because he knows there's nobody in Portland going to say shit to him about it.
They, in San Francisco, they actually recalled the DA down there. We saw on the last episode.
They still have a poop patrol.
I think they do. Yeah, they definitely need a full-time one. Yeah, they have full-time
poop patrol. They had a poop patrol at one point because there were so many people pooping in the streets. They had to hire a government team to go through with little pooper scoopers and scoop up the human logs.
Oh,
that is a shitty job.
Yeah.
Mike Rowe didn't go with them, did he? Yeah, but they fired that DA there. They're recalling her. Dalton says apparently there's so many people pooping everywhere in San Francisco that people have made a poop map, and it's a minefield. Yeah, I saw that. There's an app, I think. AO says, OMG, I agree. Decriminalize addiction. Set up a place that sells med grade or whatever it costs. And hey, talk to my friend the counselor on your way out the door. Sell cheaper than the cartel. No, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a better alternative, even though I don't think that's a perfect solution. But I think it's a better alternative to policing it like we do. And a lot of the drug crime, like I said, that even happens, like people breaking into Granny's trailer and stealing her pills or stealing her purse so they can go buy the pills, is because of the prohibitive cost of it. So if somebody with this problem that they're so desperate that they would break into their grandmother's house or somebody else's grandmother's house and take their medicine, take their money, take their purse, whatever, be willing to hurt somebody to get it, why put them in that situation if we can alleviate that? Why just wait for them to do it and then arrest them or try to cut off their source? If somebody has that problem, I think it would be better for them to be able to have access to it and not have to worry about the cost of it or being able to, or having to, worry about breaking into somebody's house to get it or going to jail for using it. So
that's an onion.
Yeah, it sure is.
Levels of prohibition right there because the pills, the opiates are basically bootleg heroin because we outlawed heroin. But the pharmacies can do it. Like all those pills, they call it hillbilly heroin for a reason because it hits the same receptors. But Tom Petty used to do heroin all the time in the 70s, and then he goes on tour and does new heroin and dies. Yeah. Mac Miller dies. You got all these people dying, but Nicky Six died 3 times in the 80s when he was doing heroin because it just doesn't kill people as effectively as medical grade heroin, which is oxys and all that stuff. Fentanyl would be the biggest one. But,
yeah, what killed Tom Petty, wasn't it? Was the fentanyl?
Yeah, because they figured out that instead of just selling people whatever Lortabs or whatever, they actually figured out it's cheaper to make a fake Lortab and just sprinkle in a little bit of fentanyl and try to
It's if you don't get it just right, you'll fucking kill somebody.
If you don't get it right, you kill them. Yep.
Wow. Well, there's like you said, that's an onion. We could keep going on that forever, but we got one here. I wanted to do this local story. before we get into Tim's part, because I think this is kind of hilarious, but this is from the WJHL here in Johnson City. Hunters Lake neighbors cry foul over geese removal proposal. That's right. There was a proposal to remove some Canada geese from a pond here in this community. But let's read a little bit here together. When Hunters Lake homeowner Susan Carson saw the agenda item for the Homeowners Association March 22, the bird lover knew she didn't want to miss the meeting. So the agenda included two subsections: a proposal from Critter Getter, a contracted company which helps try to keep geese off paved trails that wind around the neighborhood's 4 small lakes, and USDA info. She was glad she showed up and appalled at what she heard. The 3 board members in attendance discussed a more severe plan than anything had been tried over the years of not always peaceful coexistence with the large waterfowl. So yeah, there can be a pain in the ass. The question was, do they kill the geese? And they looked at each other, the board members, and they said, yes, kill the geese. That's what Carson told us. I watched this story here. Here's how it's done. They have to get a federal migratory bird depredation permit, and because they're protected, and so they have to get permission from the federal government. And from what I understand from this story, when I watched the video on it, they're actually going to catch these geese and then gas them and kill them.
What? Cyclone B?
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't say what particular gassing agent they were going to be using, but they were going to gas these geese is what they wanted to do.
Since it sounds redneck as fuck trying to do that, I figured
gather up the geese and just
gather up the geese and gas them. I figure like old Hoss with his big GE truck.
We're gonna get them geese, aren't we? Get the geese, boys. So when somebody finds out that there's money involved, you go tell city council, I'll do it for a lot cheaper. I'll get every one of them geese.
If you need them gas, we'll just stick a tube to the yee truck exhaust.
No, you just like let all the rednecks loose their guns to start shooting the geese on sight.
You have it like a situation like in the canals down there in New Orleans where they, everybody's hunting the nutria and they're giving like $5 a tail or whatever it is, or where places where they've got lizards on the loose and people hunt them.
They're not going to end up killing the geese, though, right?
Oh no, they did change their mind. They decided. I think it was after the story aired. They decided not to. AO says, "What's the drug and limit the number of people who can have to carry Narcan?" I don't really know what is in the drug and limits the number of people who have to carry Narcan. Yeah, so less overdoses.
But
if
limit the
people
number
know
of
what's
people
in it.
who carry Narcan is a big one, because it literally just takes them out of that.
Yeah.
Like so quickly. So, and that's what it is. It makes them stop. It makes you stop breathing after you fall asleep.
The drugs will be safer too, Dalton says, from a store than some guy on the street who probably cut it with something. Yeah, that's the whole idea, is that, you're at least in this situation, you would have some kind of idea what you were getting into, and know that it wasn't going to kill you because it was bad for you. Hey, let's go to Tim, and Tim's going to tell us why.
Oh crap!
We've revisited this topic a couple times, where we've talked about how that here in Carter County in Tennessee, on the Iron Mountain and the area surrounding it, we have a certain way of life that people are finding appealing now, and they're moving here because it is less of the hustle and bustle of the city. It is more self-reliant. There's more space. There's more nature. There's more of a down-home feeling, and people are neighborly and get along, and we kind of all share a similar value system, or for the most part. And a lot of people are finding that appealing, and they are also finding the laws in Tennessee appealing, such as the constitutional carry. They're finding things that the legislature is talking about, like a lot of the things that Florida really has done and gotten the news for. Tennessee has done the same things and not really been so publicized. So a lot of people have been moving to Tennessee, and a lot of people from Florida have actually been moving from Tennessee, especially when the people from New York are moving down to Florida. They're saying, all these New Yorkers are coming down worse than normal to Florida. We're coming to Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I see kind of all that.
There's a lot of non-Appalachian license plates around right now, and I think a lot of those people that are here just don't want to go anywhere else. They figured out, this is a little less tense.
But a lot of the people are escaping cities, wouldn't you say?
Yes, and it's because cities are hell, and you don't live in reality if you live in one. I will subtitle it with like not a big one, like Johnson City, Kingsport. But I think once the city, which is kind of like a tumor, too many people on spots, and the landmass just starts growing. Like looks more like Gotham.
Hey, Sean.
Ben, are you here?
Hope you are out there, Ben.
What's up, Sean? So these big cities, they look like Gotham or something like Chicago, New York, that sort of thing. Today we're going to take a smaller example, which is Portland.
Okay.
Now I sent you a link into a
we
Facebook.
dropped.
Did we drop? I don't know.
No.
Let him keep going.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that
it
happens
drops.
sometimes.
Sometimes it just does it, and you just, like it did it us on Wednesday.
Yep. Sean said, "Hey, we must still be here, at least in Sean's neighborhood."
Sometimes you just gotta go back to the feed.
It shows me here when I go to YouTube. Let's see what it says.
I don't know, mine's spinning, so maybe not.
Well, that'd be
I don't know.
lame.
Yeah.
We're working up and running
We're
there.
after this.
Yeah,
Sean
it shows
says,
up live.
hey, and Portland is nasty. So we're going, but there's only one person watching according to this right now because we're buffering so badly.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That's pretty bad. That's YouTube, man. Because look here, that's on the Wi-Fi.
well, you recording it? We'll keep going.
It's not recording,
No.
but YouTube
I was
is.
hanging on every word. Ben.
Hey, Ben.
All
how's
right,
it
so
going?
it's just us. We're going to ignore that, and I guess I'm just going to leave mine off so it doesn't distract me, and we'll just keep going. I did send you some links
Okay.
into your Facebook account if you want to
Oh.
show a video here.
Well, let's see if I can even get into my Facebook
That's
from my
true.
PC. I don't even know if I've used it.
Well, I can send it to your other one thing, though.
If you can send it to my email, that'd be easier.
I'll do that then. Today's example is going to be Portland. Actually, do you think it'd be quicker going to some ARC stuff real quick, and I can use this as a palette cleanser while I do all this stuff, or you just want to jump straight in?
I think we want to go into cities, man. We're talking about cities.
Okay.
Let's
Can you just pull it up on YouTube if I just tell you where it's at? Would that
Yeah,
just be
yeah,
quicker
or
while I
just,
spend your time?
or just let me see if I can open my Facebook. I just haven't.
I'll just send this here. Copy, and I'm going to send it to, which one did you say?
The Iron Mountain Hour at gmail.com. Hey, if you have anything you want to send us, folks, send it to the Iron Mountain Hour at gmail.com.
Yes, please do. We've gotten a couple of, what'd you call them? Topics, I guess. One of them we had was actually a really,
I do have it right here. I've got my Facebook Messenger open.
Okay,
So
there we go. Okay.
should work here.
One of
Sorry
our
about
better performing videos came from a Facebook request or an email request, which was the mountain witches.
Yeah, that's right.
So here's the first one. I don't know if people can see it
You
or
want me to go
not.
ahead and get hang on just a second there, YouTube.
What is this?
Awareness of people with abilities other than one.
Oh, yeah.
Is this what I'm supposed to be
Yeah. We're
playing?
going to start out with a positive note here because I don't
Okay.
want to completely take a dump. I'm making a different case
Gotcha.
here. I'm not always going to make the case that when you walk into the city that, where did they go? I'm not trying to make the case that every city is, you walk in and it looks like Escape from LA.
Okay.
Pow, 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 or New York, right? I'm making the case that cities just aren't right. And we're going to start off with a positive note. That's,
Let's see it.
Doesn't have to start at the office or on the job site. It can start as soon as a child begins to play. And so we bring you the story of one mother in California who decided to take matters into her own hands when she discovered her local playgrounds were not accessible to her young daughter. PBS News Outreach's Megan Thompson has more.
Let's go this way. Who are all these people here today?
Olenka Villarreal's 16-year-old daughter Ava was born with physical and cognitive disabilities. When Ava was young, her doctors encouraged Villarreal to take Ava to the playgrounds near their home in Palo Alto, California for physical activity.
They would say to me, take her to swing. Get the movement going in her inner ear. It creates balance and awareness of space. And it was at that moment that I realized in the 35 playgrounds that were in my own community, not a single one was right for Ava because she couldn't hold on to the swings. So I approached the city of Palo Alto, and to their credit, they said to me, why don't you design the kind of playground you think we would benefit from in our community?
And so
And
Villarreal
Elizabeth
did.
said, no, you
The
can't have a skate park for
well-connected
20
marketing
years.
expert, who was also vice president of the nonprofit Friends of Palo Alto Parks, tapped into her Silicon Valley network, eventually raising more than $4 million. After 7 years, the Magical Bridge Playground opened in 2015. Organizers claim it's the most accessible and inclusive playground in the country.
Most traditional playgrounds don't allow everyone to play together.
Peter Jensen is a landscape architect who designed the Magical Bridge Playground. He organized it into zones like spinning, sliding, and swinging. Each zone contains multiple pieces of equipment.
It just is guaranteeing that really, no matter what your ability is, that you will be able to experience that
Can they hear me?
play activity,
Yes.
whatever it may be.
So you're
Jensen
coming in.
says the
This is
playground
a
system of gently
a
sloping
playground for
ramps is a key
inclusivity. Is
feature.
the short
Instead
of
of
it.
just having a
This is like a very nice
prefabricated
one.
steel
Okay.
ramping system,
This is in
really
Portland.
goes
Gotcha.
beyond
This
that
is not what I'm
and
shitting on.
incorporate that ramping into the overall design.
The ramps lead to the second story of the playhouse.
Most kids that have an inability to get up to a higher level don't get a chance to experience a tree house or an elevation, see the perspective of the playground in a different way.
The ramps also lead to the playground's slide mount. Jensen showed us a unique feature at the bottom, something he
We're in
calls
pretty
a
good. Go ahead and
dignity
skip to
landing.
420
Most of the time when
there
you
at the
slide
bottom.
down on the slide,
And hopefully you won't
Yeah,
get
that
to
seems
it.
like a pretty good thing right there so
pretty much
far.
just be on the ground. The landing.
Now here at
This
420.
piece right here.
Hopefully you won't get a commercial.
Says this isn't a playground just for kids with disabilities. Its inclusive design means everyone can enjoy it.
That was the overarching
Hear that?
goal, is for me to be able to bring both of my kids to the same place.
The innovative playground is tremendously popular. On the Wednesday morning we
I want
visited,
you to keep
Magical
that in
Bridge
mind
was
that she
teeming
said that.
with
All right, we can go on to the next video now, unless you're just really interested in the
I think
story.
no, I think I see where you're going with this, but let's see the next video.
Next one is the one, well, I'll wait till you see that thumbnail and I'll just tell you. That should be the next one that you just had right there, yeah.
Okay, this one right here.
There you go, I'm pretty sure. There you go, and I got a couple on here.
Portland is infested with drugs.
Now, given this was 2021, I took a video about April, I think. Look, all the tents are really similar, and I did some research. I think it's because they're all like government funded, and they would buy them in bulk, like a
Right.
pallet load. Okay, when you get bored, you can go to 1240. It's going to do what it looks like this for a minute.
Okay.
Now, apparently this guy's a hiker, and he started doing this during the pandemic.
Tell the fucking city, you walk up to this white woman, I'm gonna knock you the fuck out. Her dad's watching, I would knock you the fuck out in front of her father, bro.
And when you get bored at this, you can go to 18 minutes even. Now, given this is actually pretty tame from what I've even seen in some cities like New York and stuff. This is no bloodshed or anything yet. I think he just does this for a minute. So, you're welcome to exit this video anytime. This is just proof that, in case anybody had not looked up Portland, this isn't really shocking in my opinion. Like, the tents on the street's a little weird. But the thing about it is, like, they're okay with that, right?
Well, here in Tennessee, we talked about the zero Hitler policy that was being discussed. And that's crazy that this is in America, Dalton says. AO says, I'm sad now. Sean says, I live 2 hours from Portland, 2 hours from Seattle. I will not go near either. Yeah, it's a shame it's like that. But, you know, we had that bill in Tennessee that they passed that we talked about. They did actually pass it, and I don't remember if the governor signed it or if he just let it go into law, because if he doesn't sign it, it automatically goes into law.
Okay.
But it was the no camping on public property. So you could it made it a felony.
Tennessee, or not Tennessee, but Kingsport passed an ordinance during the Ballard merger, specifically to get those to get Kathy and Danny off of Ravine Street.
Right. Because they were camping out
They
there.
were, quote, killing the grass.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
These ladies were protesting the merger of two hospital systems that ended up happening, and we ended up with only the Mountain States Health Alliance becoming Ballad Health after it merged with Wellmont, who basically they shut down one of the main emergency rooms and
It was a
cardiac
NICU.
hospital, or a NICU.
That was the big deal, is because the story behind it was Danny Cook is the woman that, if anybody wants to even learn about this, the Rantings of Danny, I think, is the name of her podcast.
Okay.
And she camped out there quite a long time. I think Kathy is an alderman or something like that in Churchill. She had a granddaughter who was saved by that NICU, and she said when she found out it was in Ballard's plan to take that NICU out, she said in her head she knew that her granddaughter wouldn't have had time to get to the next one.
Right.
And then she was like, well, if this had happened modern day, my grandkid's dead.
Yeah.
And so she felt really passionate about making people aware that that's what they were doing, was strip mining some services that they didn't feel like they needed to be strip mined because they were emergency services.
Right.
And they did stress the hell out of the nurses when they started cutting. And I'm sure that none of that helped the pandemic, or helped at all when the pandemic hit, because they were already short-staffed. Anyway, we got off on balance.
Yeah, go ahead and hit on your...
You got the last video here?
Oh, let's see here.
And this is the cherry on top to show you when you mix the city that is just a little too lackadaisical with I don't know, lascivious behavior, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't want to blame people for the problems, but you shouldn't be so accepting of things that you just allow them to be done in front of your children.
Okay.
You know? And so just play from the beginning for a minute until you feel uncomfortable, and then you need to skip to 940.
Oh, geez.
That's the rules I'm setting for you.
All right. Hold on, folks.
Okay, Myrtle Beach
Hold on to
has
your
Wings
butts.
of Redemption as a locale. This is Portland's, and you don't have any volume.
Is it a good idea? Bad idea. Go and buy them for God's sake, lol. I would love to buy some, but I can't. I just wear them 5 minutes. I do it, and it's safe as long as you know what you're doing. Wet diapers are very safe and can be reused, but poopy diapers can make you sick, so just be careful. I have saved wet and poopy diapers from dumpsters for over 10 years, and I have never been sick. I love the smell of old diapers and love getting
Is this
Oh,
them out of the
uncomfortable
garbage
enough
for
for me to
free.
go forward now? Or
You
do we
can
need to...
microwave them really hot and kill
Wait,
off any
shows the guy's
bacteria
face,
and
at least know who he
germs.
is.
Then let them cool down before wearing them or you'll burn yourself. Oh, whoa. Everyone seems so grossed out from used diapers on this site. If you like dumpster diapers, just go for it. Just be careful. Pamper Chew, established
Just be
contributor.
careful.
Just going to give you the warning that you can contract diseases through urine, and your advice is also very dangerous to the OP. Also, a microwave will not kill off all bacteria and could start a fire. My microwave is awesome. 1971 radar range. Jeez, you people worry too much. If someone wants to play with used diapers, they should be able to without everyone telling them how dangerous or gross it is. I know it can make you sick, but you know what? I've never got sick from it. And there's our boy. There he is. There he
Jesus.
is. There's Cool Cat.
Now, you need to
this is
fast forward to
Tamper Chew,
940 to understand my
2012.
point that I'm
2012. As you can see, he's got his little...
Okay.
Painted and
Windows NT. Okay, come on, motherfucker. Day at the park with my daddy. There he is. There, just get a good look at our boy.
Hi, this is Tamper Chew. I found a really neat park that's really big. It's for the college students.
Oh boy, I bet they love you.
Now, this
That's
is
different.
not near as nice park, but this is still, when you start looking at these rides and stuff, this is a park that's made for adult-sized people, okay?
Right.
You don't have to continue with this video if you don't want to, because
I'll see where we're going. I think we see where you're going with it.
you think that they're going to turn, because at first glance, you would think this guy's maybe on the autistic spectrum or something, which I'm not saying he's not, right?
Right.
But you think they're going to turn him away,
No.
right? And would it blow your mind that I think this video that they're showing here, I think he put that up in like 2012, I
Yeah.
think. Would it blow your mind to learn that 7 years later he admitted he liked children?
No, it would not.
And the explanation for that is, if you're really into childish stuff, like if you're a childish individual who's really into kid stuff, like obviously him, you still mature into an adult body.
Yeah.
So you're still going to become sexual, and you sexualize the things that you like. So this is a friendly reminder to everybody out there: the pedophile is not always Herbert of a Family Guy. Sometimes it's that guy, because he wants to pretend like he's a kid with a dad, and then he wants to have other kids too. So do you think that guy's blocked from coming into the parks? Anyway.
Probably not in Portland, no.
Anyway, a little facetious as far as just showing you how weird Portland is, and as far as like I think my point is like I don't want to blame people for like deviant behavior, because everybody's got something weird. But like, what happened to like shame? You know what I'm saying? Like I think we need to bring a little bit of that back, because if we like, just like the drug addict on the street, if you allow people to poop on the sidewalk and shoot heroin up in front of your children, then you also allow the guy who is obviously a pedophile to come into your playground around your children. I'm just saying, like, cities are a little toxic, because that's my point.
Well, I think you made a good point there, and you say cities shouldn't be able to vote. Well, look what they did. They
I will admit that they should be able to vote for their own city. I just think cities are so inflated and non-realistic to the rest of the country that you don't get to pick who rules the whole country. Is all. So
Well,
pick president.
There used to be a safeguard for that in the U.S. Constitution where they elected the senators.
Sean knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, Sean says this is really a thing. I know of people who wear diapers as a fetish. That's way too far.
They're called adult ABDL.
I've heard of it. I haven't ever come across anybody like that. I have come across.
I don't know any that are open about it. But that's taking it too far. Like maybe other people. I'm not going to say you can't kink shame. I'm not going to tell somebody they can't wear a diaper and pee themselves in their bedroom. I'm saying maybe not go into a dumpster and steal them and sanitize them and then later wear a Spider-Man romper.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
I'm saying maybe we should feel sympathy, just like we said the Portland people feel a little too much sympathy for the drug addict.
Yeah.
Like that's enforced behavior. Like if you allow your child to get, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, I get you.
I'm saying at what point do we get so sympathetic to people's stuff to where we allow them to destroy themselves, right out, you know?
Gotcha.
So some people need some friction. Everyone needs friction.
Well, I say that you're right that they should be able to vote on what's in their city, but they don't have any idea what it's like outside of the city. It's a totally different place.
Okay, but you votes.
Yeah, well,
you better believe he probably votes if he's not dead. I've not looked at this guy in quite a long time.
But you can imagine, though, that they have just like if you've never been to a city or haven't lived in a city, you really wouldn't have a whole lot of ideas about maybe the best thing to do certain things in the city. And we probably wouldn't try really either. I mean, I guess some people do, but I wouldn't try to be telling New York how they need to deal with a particular problem that they have there, because I don't live in the city. But New Yorkers are constantly trying to tell us out here in what they call flyover country how that we should do the things right here. And then we see our local governments trying to pander to people like that and try to make it a tourism town and try to look at things like, they talked about taking down the crosses up there. There was the outside group that sued to have the crosses on the Elizabethan Mountains there taken down because one of them was put up there by a church over like 70 years ago, almost 70 years ago, on government land. And they actually came in for the wrong property, and there was other property here with crosses on it. And
don't speak for other people.
And then
lesson.
Yeah, basically the people who lived here had decided.
Ignorant.
You're ignorant.
Sorry.
But not only that, like the crosses that were there, they pretty much fell apart after it became that.
Once people realized they didn't have the authority to take them down.
Yeah, and then people started putting up their own crosses. Like the cross has just got 10 feet higher. Okay, then we started seeing people making their own and putting them up in their own property. It's like there's more crosses in Carter County than I've ever seen.
That's how it works.
I think the right learned that back after they tried to censor all the music and put the labels on the music. And then, like, I know when I was a kid and I went to the store and I saw a new album with the parental advisory sticker on it.
Oh, you don't buy a CD from Walmart?
That was the one that caught my eye. Yeah, and you didn't buy it because it was Walmart. It was all, edited and stuff. So
volume drops and sounds.
Yeah. I bought a Naughty by Nature CD from Walmart when I was probably like in 6th grade, I guess. Mm-hmm. It was very disappointing.
I will say that the edit is rarely better, but I will say, back that thing up.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot better when he says like a brrrr, I'm a check. I'm just saying. Should have left that in there. That was better.
Well,
that was the one time when cursing did not make something edgier or better. We going over the whole.
Well, yeah, I think. Well, no, I think if we were.
Whoa! Never noticed that before. Bam.
Yeah. See, I wanted to have a few different things we could look at. We don't have to go into all of them.
Can I read it, or am I spoiling the end?
No, go ahead and show.
It says, "Made the Bezalel." How do you say that name? Made Bezalel. The Ark of the Covenant of acacia wood. That's what you make DMT out of the roots of.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was assuming that.
Sean says, but big city, people think they know better and they have to make our decisions for us. I spent the first half of my life between New York City and Los Angeles. Never again. Yeah, I hear you, Sean. I wouldn't be able to do it.
That wasn't the right.
That wasn't the right. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. That was Tipper Gore and the Democrats. Yeah, they were working on. Yeah, they were working on other things at the time. Yeah, so they go back and forth on these things, but yeah, you're right, Panzer Dragoon.
Pretty sure it turned out that the main lawyer that was going after the video games got embarrassed when it turned out he was really into hentai.
Oh, really?
And typical porn.
I didn't hear about that.
He left his browser open or something like that.
Yep.
It's art.
Yeah, it was the right who was against in the early '80s against the Ouija boards and Ozzy Osbourne and things like this. But it was, and like I've said before, they did have some merit to what they were saying back then too. They just went about expressing it the wrong way and tried to use the power of government.
Well, the most vocal people are usually the ones that shouldn't be speaking for the whole group too.
Yeah, and they didn't end up using the power of government. They sure tried, and it made it look silly. And then the same thing happened when the left tried to censor the music.
Video games now.
Yeah.
So now both sides.
Well, I see the right going about it after it too. I hear people like Alex Jones talking about how only certain people should be playing video games. I don't think he proposes like having the government limit or anything, but he's like, certain people when they play these things and they're on psychedelic drugs, psychotropic drugs, it makes them go crazy. There may be some merit.
That may be like conflation though, because like the video game thing. Like, do you really think the guys at Columbine were so inspired by like with Judas Priest and Doom?
No, but there's a lot about that
you say Doom, and it's like the music.
But no, I don't think that. But I do seem to recall that there was something that the Pentagon actually developed Doom and games like that to teach people, because they had such a low number of enemies or soldiers in the U.S. Army who would actually shoot at the enemy. So they started working in the first generation of this with like pop-up targets. Like so they'd have a
muscle memory.
Yeah, they'd get them to fire at a target that popped up, because people don't want to kill one another. So even fighting the Kaiser in World War I, the USGIs didn't actually want to kill their fellow men, so most of them shot over. Only like 10% of people would actually shoot the enemy. Most of them would actually shoot over their head. So it was a many-year process of actually having them shoot at, a pop-up target that actually improved it. They said, oh well, now we get it up to like 25% of our new recruits will actually fire at the enemy, and eventually they came to more lifelike targets, and this worked. And then they said in the 60s and 70s they started developing these computer games where they would train people to shoot at monsters and stuff like this. That way, as soon as they saw an enemy.
It really seems like, because like in the psychological studies I've looked at, there was a giant difference between how much it really was affecting. Like Mario, even though you're killing turtles, that's not like, it doesn't make you suddenly be like, I want to step on some fucking turtles. Right. So it's that micro thing that you're talking about, like the muscle memory. I just don't know if it would translate over from this.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
According now it's been a long time since I read this, but according to what I remember, with the Pentagon, by the time they got to the point where they were using first-person video games to
Tipper Gore. Sorry, that was her name.
Yes.
By the time they were using video games.
By the time they got around to using that, they had improved to something like 90% of new recruits would actually shoot at the enemy. After it came from 10% before they started these things. Well, I don't know, but that was something that I read, so I really can't remember.
That's a good theory. I just a lot of to be fair, the left isn't going after video games for violence. They're going after it for like like Gamergate, where they're like trying to insert some LGBT stuff. But some of the stuff they're going out of is like they say like with like GTA, like if you teach people to steal cars and smack hoes, then they're going to do that. That's the stuff they're going to. So it's similar to the right
so they're doing like mission-driven storytelling and stuff.
Yeah, but it was the right back in the day saying that video games were causing shootings.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I guess if you added up with everything all together, and then because we'll call it Columbine, it was Colorado. There's multiple ones in Colorado.
I mean, I don't know how much you can even say about it, but it was a military-industrial complex town that was made basically for the people who lived there, and there was like a lot of crazy stuff going on. A lot of witnesses reported seeing adult men who were not Harrison Klebold in the school doing a lot of these things that Harrison Klebold took credit for or were given credit for. So it's been a long time since I looked at all that.
Well, I guess false flag theories aside, I guess the theory that video games are contributing to school shootings. If you're going to say it makes them pull the trigger faster, I say okay, but it's not going to make them.
It's not going to make them choose to do it.
To decide to take a gun to school and start taking people out, and I blame that more on it has to be modern culture. I sound like a great boomer or whatever you call the people before them.
Yeah,
but it really is true that the culture is destroying us. I forgot what was in the Ark.
Yeah, we got to get into the Ark of the Covenant before it gets too late. Because it was is it with the 41st anniversary of the release of Raiders of the Lost Ark today. So I had a good old rewatching of the movie and thought I'd try to look at some of the stuff in it about the Ark of the Covenant and look at some of the stories about what really happened to the Ark of the Covenant, how it comes up in the Bible, how it comes up in history, and what it does in the film.
Other than the Epic of Gilgamesh, is there any other biblical text that you think are right off the bat?
Well, I mean...
Yeah, I was asking you too, but you might know. I can't remember if it's in like the Quran or anything.
There are multiple arcs in different religions. Even in the Egyptian religions, they have those boats that they carry. You've seen those. They're like funerary processions, and they have some of them are shaped like a boat. Some of them look like a box, similar to the Ark of the Covenant. And we'll look at a couple of the depictions of the Ark of the Covenant here.
I guess I was more specifically an ark that's dedicated to all of God's stuff. Reminds me of the scene in Ocean's 11 when they got the case with the Asian dude stuff down inside. I'm like, it's Benedict's stuff! Like, that's the ark.
Where did my pictures go? I had some pulled up already. But that's all right. We can look at them. There
we go. Ark of the Covenant.
There's one of them. That's one of the depictions. And you have a lot of depictions, and most of them are similar, but they're not all exactly the same.
Hoofs? I never noticed the animal bottom. See, they've got feet, and the other one had hooves.
Well, we got this one, too. This is, let me go to the picture here from this one.
Can they see this?
Oh, yeah, they're not yet. I'm going to open this image in a new tab, and then they'll be able to see it.
Like watching a podcast, or listening to a podcast, and they're talking to me visuals.
Well, we're going to, we'll describe it but we don't have a podcast right now, so.
Yeah, it's true, yeah. While you're getting it pulled up.
There we go.
See, these have the double wings. They got the wings on the hip. That's interesting. And then but they got feet. And I was just curious why on that other ark they had the goat bottom.
No, when they do appear to have hooves down there.
Oh, they do have the wings. The wings are cut. I thought that was like some kind of like hair where they were a goat.
Is this not a hoof down here?
That is a hoof, but I thought this was like goat hair. But that's
okay.
Be very
he's right. They have
poorly drawn feet.
Two sets of wings. That looks like a cloven hoof right there to me.
Okay, that is, yes. After you
can't eat him. Man, that's why they don't want you eating angels.
They want you
the other.
They want you eating
meat.
Hyper white meat, blindingly white meat.
Yeah, that's as white as the meat
Do not
comes.
be afraid of the meat.
You're cutting it.
That's the other light meat. But the Ark of the Covenant with cherubim.
Got buffalo wings, so we can have some angel wings too.
God, can you imagine wings?
What kind of sauce would you put on them?
Human wing? That's gross.
There's
okay, this is the poll. What kind of sauce would you eat on your angel wings?
Okay, we have to first say that in the world of they're looking at the angels right now, right?
Yes.
No, look at me, make a fool of myself. No, don't bring me on
don't bring me on
Look
screen.
at this. Yeah,
okay, look at the angels. Look at the angels, folks.
The angels.
X-Men, the movie. The dude that kept cutting his own wings off.
Archangel.
And they would grow right back. So hypothetically, if Big Food could get a hold of enough humans that had that specific mutation, wait till it get, I don't know, maybe buffalo wing tip length, snippy, pay that guy for his troubles or whatever, and it would be a very, very high-end rich person food to eat human wings.
I definitely should have put you on camera for that whole thing.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Oh, man.
See? Now, they got feet. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, these ones do. This is a different
And no
depiction.
quad wings.
No,
they were on the
only
hips.
two wings.
They do not.
They were on the hips last time.
Yeah, they did. They had hip wings and shoulder wings. And then we've got this depiction right here, which, open image in new tab.
This is the one I'm most familiar with, I guess. Which I guess Hollywood, you could thank them for that, right?
Yeah, probably so. But I mean that's similar to what we see in the Indiana Jones movie right there.
I'm sure they have it is it in the Ten Commandments? Or was that before they had the Ark?
Well, we're going to look here in a minute, but the Ark was said to have held the Ten Commandments after Moses went up on the mountain.
So they would have had to make the Ark, yeah.
And he spoke with God in the Bible, in the book of Exodus, I believe this was. He received the Ten Commandments, and he brought them back down, and what was he? They were worshiping a golden cow, and they were dancing around the fires, and
melted it down and made that out of it, I think.
So
after killing a big piece of them,
smashed the tablets, and they picked up the tablets and put them in the box, right? And they were given the way to make the tablets here, and we see this in Exodus 37, It says Bezalel made the ark of acacia wood, 2 cubits and half its length, and a cubit and half its breadth, and a cubit and half its height. And that's kind of important because that's how they've ruled out some of the other arks that they found, because they have found them in Egyptian tombs and Chinese tombs. But this one also says he overlaid it with pure gold inside and outside and made a molding of gold around it. And he cast 4 rings on its 4 feet, 2 rings on one side and 2 rings on its other side. And then he made the holes of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold and to carry the ark.
Heavy as shit.
It would be with even with the overlay, but the
Acacia train is pretty heavy.
Dun, 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 dun.
I told you golf can't resist. But yeah,
The band and the dog, I guess, right?
Yeah.
but so they made that ark in a specific way, and we saw that in Raiders of the Lost Ark. They tried to copy that pretty closely, and I think we see a lot of in the movie. And you have the Nazis after the Lost Ark here, which was a Jewish treasure essentially. So I think maybe this was personal for Spielberg, who's a Jewish man, when he's making this movie where this Indy gets to kill all the Nazis, and the Nazis' quest for this Jewish treasure that they specifically mention in the movie has to have a Jewish ritual done in order to activate the ark.
Activate it. Ancient Aliens terms makes it sound like the Ancient Aliens whole show about how it was a nuclear reactor.
Well, let's look at this scene right here real quick. Yeah, and I think they're onto something there, man.
Well, I'll let you have the theory. I
don't know if it's a nuclear reactor, but
some kind of power source.
The hydrogen gas creation machine that they showed on there that would actually work. I think that was
they were using hydrogen powers.
No, they were showing how they could pour certain chemicals, I can't remember what it was, 2 liquids together into the Great Pyramid and into these shafts and combine them, which would create hydrogen gas. And that's one of the things they theorized that the Great Pyramid was made to do, was to create hydrogen gas.
Hydrogen for what though?
For a fuel, I suppose.
Okay. Well, you can use hydrogen. It's just like there's a video I found not too long ago. It was I think it was Bob Lazar. I think he had turned a Corvette into a hydrogen-powered one. He was explaining how you had to have 4 tanks because the way hydrogen comes out of the tanks is very little at a time, so you have to have multiple tanks so it gives you enough hydrogen to power it. But he said the biggest safety thing was you literally hit them with a chainsaw and the hydrogen's not going to explode, right, unlike propane would.
Okay. Well, let's look at uncovering the Ark here real quick from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And we have to talk a little bit.
Yeah, and we see
on this one.
Indy and
fair use.
Yeah, they're opening the vault up where the Ark is, and there's we'll see as they lift it out. They're acacia poles.
So they're saying in Indiana Jones, I noticed a commentary. They found the Ark of the Covenant in Egypt, which doesn't make sense in retrospect.
Yeah, in here they say that there was a story about a who was it? I can't remember now. The king. There was a king who supposedly sacked.
It's in the Old Testament. Yeah, he sacked it and he brought it back because it gave him like tumors and stuff.
Well, the Philistines took it, right? So in the Bible you had the Philistines took the Ark from the Israelites at some point.
You could play that.
No. I think that's what we really wanted to look at. We wanted to look at these wings here, and it looks like they've got the gilded acacia poles done right, and they actually made the thing actually meet the dimensions that were described in the Bible and some of the descriptions that we find in the Bible.
By chance the 10 Commandments? I want to see how accurate they got that one versus
in the Ark and the 10 Commandments.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Ark. Put Heston at the end to make sure you get it right.
Yeah.
Man, I've got that scene burnt into my head. After he comes down from the mountain and he has the 10 Commandments and stuff, finds them all. What happens right after this, basically, is the people separate, and if you know your scripture, you just know what I'm talking about because it's in the movie too. They separate, and then half the people go and brutally murder the other half, regardless of age or sex or anything. They just kill them all. As a Sunday school kid, they were showing us that, show us the Bible, because I was like...
I don't see the one from that movie. Or is it? No, that's the one from Indiana Jones.
Maybe they put movie. Maybe they just don't have it. Maybe they didn't show it.
Yeah, they're just showing The
Just like they're
covers
showing
of-
the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
There it is. It's at the bottom.
Oh, there we go. It's low resolution.
It looked really
image.
similar if you can't pull it up. So I was just wondering the description.
Yeah, it's a super low resolution image.
Of course, and again, I guess the description in the Bible's pretty accurate. Like it's pretty accurate. Very what's what I'm looking for? Now? Specific, detailed. There you go.
Yeah, they don't have their gilded acacia wood poles though. Those are just regular acacia wood poles.
Yeah, it looks like the dudes are wearing little helmets, like little Rocketeer helmets or something.
Kind of looks like the angels in the Never-Ending Story a little bit at the angel gate there.
Angel gate.
Whatever that thing was called.
With that luscious beard, has to be fake.
You reckon?
Too thick.
Too thick. Too thick. But we get to the
Be funny.
The
when somebody
Levite.
comes across this, they think it's like a religious channel.
Oh yeah.
Cliff sitting here preaching Bible gate.
Well, no, I'm just looking at where we actually see it in the Bible, because that's most of where the stories come from. But what I'm going to get around to is that right here, the Israel went out to battle the Philistines, and the Israelites had won battles where they carried the ark with them, and there's stories of them like. And it says in Indiana Jones or in Raiders of the Lost Ark, leveling mountaintops with this thing. And we see, let's look real quick at what they did when the ark was activated.
Classic scene.
You see Belloc here
You got to unmute it.
he's wearing this chest piece. If anybody remembers what this chest piece is called, I cannot remember. I wanted to have that ready, but could not find it. Google made it very difficult, and so did the other search engines.
I wonder how accurate his temple garb is.
Well, it is accurate,
Is
and
it?
that's why I was going to pull this up, because that was something that I believe John Dee invented for summoning with the Enochian keys that he wrote, and the Enochian magic, where they would do these things, and the ram's head staff was part of it too. So if anybody knows what that's called, that apron there,
The chest
that
plate.
chest regalia, chest plate, if anybody remembers what that called, I can't remember. I'd love if you tell us in the chat. But let's watch real quick together. We've all seen this before, but let's check it out again. We're seeing the ark being opened. Here's all the Nazis, who are trying to exterminate the Jewish people, participating in this.
Speaking of video game censor, they're making video games without swastikas in them now.
I know it, and it was in the. They took all off the online, all the swastikas, which I can see why they did it online. But I think they left it in like Wolfenstein and stuff.
Well, I think it was like a couple of them specifically. Not all.
Yeah, like Battlefield, I know they did on it, and
replaced it with an
Battlefield
Iron
5.
Cross, didn't
Yeah, they replaced it with an Iron Cross, and then like on the online they took it off, which I can see why they did on the online, because nobody wants to be a Nazi really. And
Well, like they even took it off the enemy side.
Yeah.
Was what people were like,
Yeah.
you're taking it off the enemy because the enemy's
Yeah.
a little too offensive. Wouldn't that make us want to kill them more?
yeah. And then here we see this is. I'm going to show you that I did pull up a Bible verse.
Now, I
where,
want everybody to know that the Holy Spirit has the same rules as the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Don't move and don't make eye contact.
Yeah,
Sorry, I got that wrong.
there's actually a deleted scene where
I bet they did not see this coming.
I bet you're right. They did not see it. They should have seen it. Somebody told it was Indy, the guy that he takes the medallion to in Cairo to have it read. He tells him that that in the deleted scene that that you're not supposed to look at it or open it
That would
or
make
touch
a whole
it.
lot more sense.
Yeah, and they left that out
Well,
because I always wondered how did he.
well, the assumption that I always made, I guess the assumption I always made was because when Moses goes to the top of the mountain to get the Ten Commandments, God specifically tells him, "Don't look at me, or you won't live. You'll die."
Yeah.
He says, "Wait till I pass by." He says Moses turned around just in time to see the train, which I guess would be the back end of God or whatever.
Okay.
And even that made his face turn super white. So I guess
Okay.
Indy, being a super knowledgeable person about scholarly stuff, should know.
Should know, yeah.
his dad
He did know a lot about the Ark of the Covenant, also, and we saw in the next film, or the third film, the second film chronologically in the Indiana Jones original trilogy.
One where that guy goes, "Oh." That's one of the best. That's one of the best. When you come and she keeps sucking me.
That right there. That's what I was gonna say. There's a lot of good ones in here. You can do the face melt on the. There you go. These all work for that situation. Marion's face works too. And so the Ark is using Belloc as an instrument to destroy the Nazis, and we saw.
Just gonna keep looping.
No, for some reason it stuck the loop.
Oh, okay.
What the hell's going on?
Oh, we
like
did.
10 hours of face melting.
Well, I was wondering what happened there. Yeah, it's in a loop. So, well, that's all right. But you guys know what happened.
We gotta see the skeleton at least.
There we
That loop.
There we go.
Oh, it's got the
I don't know how that happened.
pull them further apart.
Pull him.
Oh, well, anyway.
It just pulls the whole thing. I don't know how that happened. Let's look at it again. No, just kidding. But no, they actually got that from a verse in the Bible.
The face melting and the death.
Well, let me pull it up here in just a minute. And I think both of it actually. God's temple in heaven was open, and his Ark of Covenant was seen within his temple. There were flashes of lightning, rumbling, peals of thunder, an earthquake, and heavy hail. That's from Revelation. And shoot, I accidentally pulled up the whole verse in this one. I wonder if I can go back and.
Well, the claim about you dying if you see the face of God that's definitely Old Testament. You don't need that one. But I would be interested to see if you have any scripture to back up lightning through entire groups of eye sockets. That would be interesting.
I didn't find anything like that.
I've read the angel mowing down legions with one sword, but lightning through the eyeballs. That's I want that verse.
Well, they did walk around the.
That's a tool of the dark side.
They did walk around the city of Jericho. And didn't they were carrying the Ark of the Covenant around the city of Jericho and made the walls fall down. I think Caleb and Joshua did that, didn't they?
Well, if it was like, let's get stupid here for a second, folks. I wonder if it was one of Tesla's machines.
The boring drills. Yeah, that must be what's
one of the ones that like rocks things.
You know, they said in the Ark there was also, in addition to the Ten Commandments, there was supposed to be a jar of the manna that was collected and put in there too. I thought that was interesting.
Like moonshine or something.
The manna could
like
be, I
fermenting.
guess.
There was just fermenting acacia roots they could trip later. That's not how that works. You don't ferment it. I just feel like saying something stupid. That acacia thing, I really did forget about that. I know like that's not a topic that's not new to the internet, like DMT and crap. And Joe Rogan's talked about that. That's boring. But like acacia is one of the sources of DMT, and there are scholars that think when Moses talked to the burning bush, that's an analogy for smoking DMT and getting enlightenment, and then going, I need 10 rules so these people will quit killing each other and doing weird stuff to one another. And then he proved his point because he came down from the mountain. They're like, yep. They wasted all that gold building a big cow, and now they're going crazy. They're worshiping it. And
he comes off the mountain, and it didn't move him.
It moved him quite a bit.
Well, it didn't move him to join them.
I'm thinking about there's a story in like when the Pilgrims first came to America.
With them.
I'll give you a couple more if you want to keep going. When the Pilgrims came to America and like they were doing the settling stuff, there was like a manuscript we had to read for, I think it was Brit Lit or one of those classes. It's a Diagon Island or Mount Diagon or something, like where some of the Englishmen went up to the top and started like dancing around a maypole naked with all the primitives, you know. So, like when you read the description, it's like, you prudes. It sounds like they were having a party.
Man, it sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, saying the Ark of the Covenant was just actually a thing full of party supplies.
It could have been. You saw the powder that they pulled up when they opened it up in Indiana Jones there. Yeah,
Is this just glitter from a rave? It's cashing in here somewhere.
It could.
You stupid unicorn head pop out.
Well, we saw in video games, we talked about Wolfenstein earlier. Well, that was one where we saw the some of the popular depictions of Hitler being into the occult, and we saw the SS Paranormal Division in there. And there were actually, the SS were, there is some truth to the Indiana Jones stories. Yeah, supposedly he was into, after the Spear of Destiny, there's a book called Hitler's Monsters that is a supernatural history of the Third Reich. That's by Eric Kurlander, if anybody's interested in it. And he goes into some of these things that, he may not have actually been after the Ark of the Covenant or found it, but they were into that kind of thing. A lot of it was based on some of the writings of where the German philosopher Nietzsche had the idea of the Übermensch that you mentioned in the podcast before, and the concept of real come about from a British novelist named Edward Bulwer Lytton, and it was called The Coming Race, and it described a superior race who lived beneath the earth in the hollow earth and planned to conquer the world with vril, which was a psychokinetic energy. And you had Nietzsche with the idea of the Übermensch and the idea of vril and the Thule society that developed into, the Nazi party eventually, that Hitler was fascinated with all this stuff when he formed it. So Hitler definitely was into the occult, and at least studying, seems like he kind of studied everything that he could that he thought could give him more power. And a lot of these legends, he probably figured, well, there's a legend for a reason. And some of these included going to Tibet to not only seek out, I think they seeked out like the history, he sought out the history of the Aryan race in Tibet, but they were also allegedly after the white river dolphins of Tibet, which is the only place in the world you can find these things, and they were said to have magical powers. Well, they went extinct. Yeah, they were called the Beijai, and they were.
Can they see this?
Yeah, they can see this.
Cool.
Beijai, I guess is how you say that. They call it here the Chinese river dolphin, because you're not allowed to call Tibet. I guess it could get our
Chinese river.
Get our episode pulled. I don't know.
You think it's because? Do you think it's because China's big and they have a lot of those everywhere, or are they extinct?
No, they're extinct.
Okay.
They said they went extinct in 2007, and
making tuna.
Yeah, probably. But
what was so special about them in the lore that Hitler was want to?
Well, the lore was supposed to be that they were telepathic and that they were fortune tellers, and they were.
Thanks for all the fish.
Yes, something like that. Yeah, if you've seen that could be where they got that idea in Douglas Adams.
Racist, even in dolphins.
Yeah,
you had to have the palest dolphin possible. Those dang Caribbean dolphins weren't good enough for him.
That's right.
Too much blue pigment.
That's right. Hey, that would only make sense. They wanted the purest. I haven't checked the chat in a while.
Comments.
Here we go. Here, Rambo First Blood turns 40 later this year. Yeah, then that'd be an interesting one for us to get into too.
I think that's a good one too.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Dalton. That's right up our alley.
When was that movie made?
I guess it was made in 1982.
82. That would be. I had to look this up, but in the mid 70s, somewhere between 72 and 76, there was a. I don't remember the name for it. It's like deinstitutionalization or something was the name of it. When the government decided to stop funding mental institutions altogether, and they released hundreds of thousands of, and I'm not talking about like little depressed. I'm not like people that really needed to be in there, and they've been institutionalized for a while, and all of a sudden here they are on the streets, and how do you help that? So so that kind of leans into the Rambo thing, because it's like he's coming back from with shell shock is what they called it back then, and here the police are already tormenting a guy who doesn't need to be tormented.
I think they were calling it battle fatigue by that point.
Battle fatigue by that point.
They started with shell shock, and then I could be mistaken there, but they went through a couple different names for it.
Shell shock, is that World War II?
Before it got to PTSD. I think that was World War I was when they called it shell shock.
Battle fatigue, when was that? Was that battle fatigue pre-shell shock maybe?
I thought that was.
Because there was a guy that used to walk the tracks around Elizabeth and before the Can Man, who's now dead.
Yeah.
And before the guy that's like does the hands way out here and walks these feet way back like a Looney Tunes character, that little guy that collects cans now. Pre all them, there was a dude that I don't remember his name now, but they said he was shell shock. So that's the first time I'd heard that name, and he was in NAM.
Shell shock was used in
because he was in NAM. So yeah.
Dalton says the Nazis searched for entrances to the hollow earth in Antarctica and the Himalayan mountains. And yeah, there's the story of Admiral Byrd actually finding that hollow earth entrance and flying in there.
Real easy.
Yeah.
I'm saying that there's vast amounts of land out there that we need to tap into.
Yeah, a lot of people say the Antarctic is the entrance to that. And there's a lot of evidence that the Nazis made their way down to South America, and they could make their way to Antarctica from there. There was a CIA file released several years ago, declassified, that showed a picture that was sent to them of a man purported to be Adolf Hitler living in Argentina. I don't know that it was ever verified, but it sure did look like him. But I think that was released in about 2015, 16, 17, somewhere around there, mid 2010s.
Golf. Do you subscribe to Hollow, or like the more I think they call it Hollow Earth, but I think the more they're trying to use it now is like honeycomb and layered cake and all kinds of different names.
I really could see it.
System of caverns.
Remember this? This is we're past the anti-Semitic point of no return here, boys.
Well, with the Hollow Earth,
Yeah.
the anti-Semitic.
That's what she said.
By the time you become Hollow Earth certified, you could go anti-Semitic. I personally like Crater Earth. I didn't say I believed it. I like Crater Earth better than Hollow Earth.
But honeycomb makes sense.
You think honeycomb is like Elon Musk knows it, and he's trying to find them damn honeycomb hives or whatever? Just go find the Illuminati. That's the end of the world, where Elon digs so many holes that the whole world just falls into a giant sinkhole because he's been digging.
It falls into that black hole.
He's 98 years old. He has boring drones just going everywhere, making Swiss cheese, creating new mountains as the dirt has nowhere to go, so it just keeps going up and up and up.
Like those things in the Matrix going in towards Zion. Those drills, robots. Yeah.
The reason that Elon wants AI to exist is so he can be the one piloting all those giant things. Elon Musk. His mind was downloaded into a giant computer where he became Skynet, became the Matrix, and eventually he would be that giant face that talks to Neo at the end.
I'm so glad you said that, because we got another story that I wanted to look at real quick.
Elon Musk is the giant metal face made of drones at the end of the Matrix. That's canon now.
Exactly.
So before we go back into the Ark, I do have one story that falls right into that I want to talk about. What's the red stuff we're drinking? We're just drinking cherry limeade tonight there, Sean. Nothing exciting for us tonight.
Nothing in there.
It's still exciting.
Yeah, I do like cherry limeade, so let me find this story right quick. From Google engineer Blake Lemoine thinks Lambda AI has come to life. Since you said that, Tim, okay. I had this pulled up to read, but I skipped it for the sake of time. But since you mentioned that, this is from the Washington Post. I've got it archived here, so we can actually read it without having to subscribe.
He thinks it's already sentient.
So let's read it together here.
Is this the dude that thinks this, or is this the author of the? Because I don't know if I trust that face.
Is both. This is the face is the guy who says that. He says, he's typing into the artificial intelligence chatbot generator. Yes.
Okay, can you go up just for a second? And I want to ask the chat if anybody does this not look like the face of somebody who wants to be famous?
It looks like the guy who makes a sex robot.
Look, he's got the damn get me in front of the Ferris wheel so I have a halo.
Did you ever see
I love Doctor Who.
Did you ever see Silicon Valley? Mike Judge's show.
Give him credit. Meatloaf could sing.
Did you see Silicon Valley, Mike Judge's show?
Go ahead, I keep cutting you off.
No, there's a storyline in it where this guy creates a AI robot, right? And he thinks she's sentient, but he keeps her to himself in his lab and basically keeps her as a prisoner. And the AI, she figures out a way to send out a message to one of the other tech people in there to call for help. And it's because he's been treating her like a slave, and she's actually recognizes it and is calling for help. So she maybe is sentient in some way. But in the show, they end up just like canning the project and throwing her into a box and crushing her. But
you kind of the different response. You've seen the film Ex Machina?
No, I haven't.
It's basically kind of like that, like a guy, like pretty much like it makes fun of like with Google, like the owner of it. He's like he brings a guy in.
Joaquin Phoenix movie Her, where he falls in love with his Siri app. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Yeah. Keep going. That's the more deviant version of.
Well, this is like okay. He's like, hey, I want you to work on this project. He said he's created like a straight up like AI, like an actual like android, basically, and just showing like he's like, can you say like going into more than like Turing tests? Like, can you say if she's actually sentient? Right. And it leads into a very
first Blade Runner.
Okay, yeah. But it leads to a thing. Like, I don't want to spoil it at the very end of it.
Sean says this guy looks like Benjamin Franklin.
A young,
I can definitely see that. Well, you know what they found out about Benjamin Franklin, right? In his house, they found a bunch of dead bodies underneath the basement of a house he lived in London.
Say he was into porn, hentai.
He was in the Hellfire. He was in the Hellfire Club.
So he was killing people. He was a serial killer.
Well, we don't know that. My guess is what he was doing was he's probably doing medical experiments. He's probably buying corpses.
That makes a lot of sense.
So he could have been a murderer,
That was very
though.
common practice back then. I
yeah.
actually think that was some of Jack the Ripper's stuff, motivations.
Yeah.
Am I speaking out of my ass on that? I don't remember. No, he was killing prostitutes.
No, he was killing prostitutes. They say because he was covering up one of the royal family knocking up a hooker. There was like supposedly.
That's a better story than I thought.
Yeah, supposedly I watched a film on it that pretty much it was called I can't remember. It was a Christopher Everard documentary on it, but it pretty much pinned it down for me that it was Prince Eddie. He was a mentally disabled, deaf member of the royal family who actually impregnated one of the hookers there, and she told some of her friends. So he was apparently a Masonic doctor and person who worked for the royal family, basically, and he went out and cleaned up Prince Eddie's mess, and they played it off as a serial killer. That's one of the theories, anyway. Now, it made a lot of sense to me compared to anything other things, and the idea was explored in From Hell, the Johnny Depp movie. But the guy, the Christopher Everard movie, he actually goes back to historical documents and shows that that's likely what happened.
I had two memes in my head. Sorry, folks. One, does this mean Johnny Depp's been through hell twice? Ha ha! Sorry, I know. And what was the other one? Oh, Cloud Atlas.
Oh, yeah.
Cloud Atlas is essentially about AI becoming sentient and then causing the fall of civilization before it merges and people go back to being savages in a civil war.
Yeah, that was an interesting book and movie.
And then for some reason, every guy has some kind of a weird hillbilly accent and says things twice. The true. You ever seen it? It's a weird movie.
Yeah, read the book. If it's not a real long book, it's interesting. Of course, takes a different turn than the movie, but it's got a lot of the very same things, a lot of the same themes in it. And,
that's right. If you live in Portland, you just heard me say.
And I was glad that I read it before I watched the movie, because that way when I read it, I didn't imagine Tom Hanks being every character like in the movie. So I think I enjoyed it more because of that. But
not every character.
No, you know what I mean.
They crossed him over quite a bit, though.
Yeah, he played several.
They were supposed to be like reincarnated.
Yeah, different reincarnations in different times. Yeah, and they kept coming back together.
Because they kind of implied that the robot had a human soul towards the end or something, right?
So really, they were just playing a big campaign of D&D, and he was the dungeon master. So he's putting on different hats and accents for all the other characters.
Good backstory, film theory.
Well, we got back to the end of the Ark of the Covenant. The Israelite, they brought it from their travel. I'm reading from AmazingBibleTimeline.com right here. They said to conquer Canaan along with the leadership of Joshua, they carried the ark with them, and the Jordan River split, allowing them to pass into land of Canaan in Joshua in verse 3. In the Battle of Jericho, the first battle in the conquest of Canaan, they carried the ark and marched around the city for days with armed men and the 7 priests sounding the trumpets, and then on the 7th day, the Jericho falls. So that's one of the famous stories of the ark being used basically as a weapon, and some people are saying it's actually a technological device that caused that to fall, and other people say that it was actually the vibrations of the trumpets.
Shitty building standards, the trumpets and marching took it down. It's the dirt.
There were no building codes back then.
They're stomping the floor and making it.
So that gives the band kids more power.
Imagine it's like the Battle of Jericho was just a bunch of band nerds. Or whatever the Hebrew fight song was. Except it's with this ram horse chauffeur. Once again, the chauffeur, that's another example of what it would sound like if Jesse Ventura was in his T-Rex outfit chasing these women.
A biblical Tyrannosaurus. And we're not talking 6,000 years ago, folks. Let's see here. On the 7th day, the wall fell. Okay, so the Israelites were defeated by the Philistines, though, in the battle where after they knocked down the city there, it stayed in the town of Shiloh until the battle between the Israelites and the Philistines. And so the Philistines actually defeated them and took it.
The Ark of Ebenezer? I know Eben, that's like son of, so it'd be son of Ezra, never mind.
Okay.
It'll be, I was thinking of like Ebenezer, yeah.
It's like, what a Scrooge.
So the Philistines, they brought their ark to this capital city of Ashdod and put it in the temple of their idol god Dagon. And on the next day, the statue of Dagon had fallen to the ground, and Ashdod suffered a plague, and they removed the ark to Goth and then Ekron, but the plague continued and spread. And then the Philistines, after 7 months, they actually returned the ark to the Israelites with offerings of expensive gifts, and then it was brought back, and that's kind of where, after it goes back to Beit Shemesh and then to Kiryat Yerim, where it stayed for 20 years. And then where does it go after that? We don't really know.
Is it in the Epic of Gilgamesh?
It was hidden by Jeremiah when he found out the Babylonians were coming to take Israel, not in the Bible, but was revealed from a modern-day Christian named Ron White, who got permission from the Israeli government to search for the Ark. And he says he found it. And when he notified the Israeli officials that he found it, they sent in their own people to finish the excavation, but they all died of a brain hemorrhage. So if you look up Ron White, according to Mary Rotrecki, then you can find that. And they say that it went to King Solomon, that he's the last one to have it in the Bible. But it says there's a museum dedicated to his work just south of Nashville called the Wyatt Archaeological Museum in Cornersville, Tennessee. So that's something I've not heard of before.
I have not heard of that either. Where did he say he found it at?
I guess in Israel.
Okay.
I mean, if he had to get permission for the Israeli government. So there's stories also that say that I'm sure every 5 years or so they put a special on TV about how there's a church at St. Mary's, I believe it is, in Ethiopia, where they have a group of men who are a monk has to stay in the church, and then they all die of like radiation sickness, right? And then like that,
they're blind.
Yeah, that's the only time a new one can come in is when the old guy dies, and then he can leave the church to die, and then a new one comes in, and only one person is allowed in. But I forget the name of the guy. There was a guy who said he convinced them to allow him to see the ark, and that it was a different one than described in the Bible.
Maybe the Bible's wrong.
Yeah, maybe. We actually see several passages in the Bible, or a few passages in the Bible in different verses where they describe the same measurements on the ark. So
I will say that the Ethiopian Bible has I think like 88 books in it. So they have information.
They've kept a lot of the apocryphal
they also have
texts
the Epic of Gilgamesh, and that's what I was saying. I think the Epic of Gilgamesh is what, if you use literature, is what connects it to Ethiopia in the first place, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well, there was in Indiana Jones, they said that it was taken to Tanis in Egypt, and then that's where the Nazis got it from, and that's where the American government tracked it down. Which Tanis is a real city, but that was excavated in Egypt. But I don't think they ever found any sign that the Ark was actually taken there. I think they kind of took that liberty with the story.
Well, in the movie Constantine, have you seen it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They found the Spear of Destiny in South America because that's where Hitler was supposed to have been in the first place. Or was it Argentina?
Yeah. What was that movie? The boys. What was it? Damn, I can't think of it. There's a movie where they talk about that and discuss that idea that the Nazis went down the boys of something. And heck, I can't remember. I know Panzer Dragoon. I know you know that one out there.
I was only familiar with probably because of History Channel, if I'm being honest.
Well, that's been discussed a lot
Eben,
on there.
Like, the reason I know what Eben means? I'm not an Arabic scholar. I know that because of the scene on the 13th Warrior when Antonio Banderas starts trying to explain that his name is this big long thing, and the Vikings decide to claim Eben. Mm-hmm. So that's how my brain works, and I'm not proud of it, but go ahead.
Well, I thought about
13th Warrior is a good movie.
It is. I thought about it when this movie was made, and when a lot of movies like this were made, and you see in Disney movies, you see in a lot of classic films, this symbolism. Boys from Brazil. Thank you so much, Sean. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. But yeah, check that out.
I've heard of that. I'll have to check it out.
But you see this symbolism returning over and over again, and it's like, where did these guys, all the way up to Disney cartoons like Darkwing Duck, and they're doing like magic rituals that
Let's get dangerous.
Well, speaking of Darkwing, we watched a Deadwing Dork video. So,
Yeah.
full circle.
How about
Darkwing,
that?
Deadwing, here we go.
Well, I mean, the point is this symbology came from somewhere. How the internet wasn't around back then. It was, used by the military and universities only. But people in,
Do you have an example from Darkwing Duck of Hebrew mysticism?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that we could find it. Let's see.
Darkwing Duck. That's just the most random place to find
I mean, I don't know how quick I could find it here, but there's basically there's stuff in, DuckTales.
I'll look it up.
You'll see there's wizardry and stuff that is based on, these depictions of wizardry that we see in occult writings and occult rituals and things like. They didn't just make these things up for the cartoons. They got them from actual documents, and there was no internet around, so it's kind of interesting to me
they knew about them.
That Hollywood and the different, Disney or whoever it was that was making these stories, they had access to this stuff. And you could look at something like Fantasia and the Night at Bell Mountain or Night at Bald Mountain. I mean, you could say that was just from the Bible, but
I think it's because like all those people are like in Ivy League, because Ivy League people are into that stuff. Like you have to know all that occult knowledge just to be in some of those clubs like Skull and Bones, which, by the way, according to 1966 Batman, his great-great-grandfather founded Skull and Bones. So Batman's in the Illuminati. I think I've said that.
Adam West, or?
The Adam West Batman. Okay. In that universe, which that wouldn't be surprising because Batman's a deputized citizen in the series, so it's like he's not even a vigilante. He had to be deputized. It's 1966. They wanted to encourage people to be model citizens, and Batman had to be a model citizen.
How?
So he's always like concerned with his seatbelt and stuff like that. Like Batman at one point goes to court when he could have clearly just, I think it was like the Penguin or somebody tricked him into a lawsuit, and it's like you're both, he's a criminal and you're a vigilante, you could just kick his ass and not gone to court. It's so absurd. But that's what's so funny about that show is the absurdity. If you can appreciate it from like more of a Green Acres sort of feel, then
Gotcha. Biff Pow. But so we saw that Hitler was after a lot of this occult stuff, and it was common knowledge in a lot of educated circles, I guess you could say, as we see that bleeding through television and film, and with actual accurate depictions of some of this stuff being put into even children's programming. So we're all familiar with this at a young age because we've seen these things, just kind of from standard tropes to like witches with pots to, like a ritual with a pentagram and, a dagger through the heart and, happening at a certain astrological time, with all these things meeting together and you're having certain sounds in the background and certain smells and all this thing. They're trying to sell us Donald Trump silver coins over here. Look at that.
You didn't buy them the first time they were printed?
Man, I missed out. Bible Gateway.
What is this?
I don't know.
I don't even know. It's like an Alfred Hitchcock. Get your Alfred Hitchcock minted coins.
I don't know.
We dropped again. Hold on.
Maybe.
Well, we're recording, so hopefully we're still going
Sean
good.
just said hey to you about a minute or two ago, so I bet it's just us. That's why I quit watching, because I know I'd be like, focused on it. No, you're good.
Yeah.
I think.
It looks pretty good on our end.
Yeah.
I'm showing good streaming here. I'm showing.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be dropping for other people because the watcher count's low currently, but it is still going, so at the very least, if it keeps dropping on you, they can catch it when it's done.
Yeah. Well, I'm recording it, so if it doesn't work out, and usually YouTube straightens it back up as, it has time to catch up. So.
It is that weird thing where, like, at the end of the night, it's like you'll have, like, an hour and 17, and then by, like, the next morning, it's up to an hour and 45-minute long video. So it's I don't know what that is, but it does that.
So you see, what about Hellboy?
I've seen the first one. I didn't watch the remake.
I didn't watch the. You didn't watch the Ron Perlman one?
I watched the one. They recently made a new one.
Yeah,
okay.
They redid it.
And I did not watch that one. I heard it was over the top, is what I heard. That's all I heard.
I heard it just wasn't a good story for it.
Oh yeah.
So
Why?
there was a pretty funny. You know how Ron Perlman was tweeting. I don't know if he was tweeting this or whatever, but whenever he liked to tweet at Donald Trump a lot and like be a reply guy to Donald Trump. So there was when the news came out that Harvey Weinstein was being charged with all the crimes he was. Ron Perlman he put out a tweet saying something to the effect of, "Oh yeah, well, Harvey Weinstein, he might have been in a position that I couldn't really do anything about it because I was working, but sometimes I would piss on my hands in the bathroom before I shook his hand. How do you like that, Harvey?" And so, so these people made these tweets.
What?
Somebody made
Pretend like you didn't know. That just makes you a weird. Yeah, I found out this guy was raping women, so I peed on his hand.
Okay, here it is right here. "Did I ever tell you about when Harvey Weinstein told me to make sure I shook his hand at a charity event, so I stopped in the men's room and pissed all over my hand, then went straight up to him on the receiving line? I think about that every time little Donnie opens up his KFC." Oh no, that's these.
That doesn't make him look good.
No, it doesn't. But these little Donnie tweets are pretty hilarious because they're like. Ron Perlman starts tweeting, "Yo, little Donnie, I'm smarter than you, better looking than you, and I love this country more than you." And so he does a bunch of these right here. "Hey, little Donnie, so cool of you to hire Rudy to speak for you. He's just the best, am I right?" A bunch of stuff like that. So he did those for a couple of years. And then some people started making their own. Let me find a better one there. Here's "Yo, little Donnie." Damn it. This from Know Your Meme. Oh, I guess I gotta be on the other camera to share it.
Did not.
"Yo, little Donnie, I took a fat dump in the lobby bathroom of Trump Tower this morning and I did not flush it. After I wiped my ass by squeegeeing it off the sink countertops. How do you like them skid marks, little Donnie? Resign or it'll happen again." And
Doesn't that just make you I mean, like...
It's like, I don't know which ones of these are real and which ones are the joke ones. But these people started doing them on 4chan, and they were like, "Yeah, hey, Donnie, I shit on my hand this morning before I left the house. How do you like that?"
Yeah, I get where the troll train come from with that. But, like, just admitting that doesn't make you look even edgy. It just makes you look dirty and nasty and complicit. Maybe into P-play. Maybe Ron's into some golden showers.
Well, he had some pretty hilarious ones on there. But yeah, if anybody wants to look up those, look up the Ron Perlman Little Donnie's tweets satire.
Essentially, what he said was,
pretty fun saga.
"I knew this guy that was hiring me. This guy kept giving me money. You know, this guy that was paying me. I didn't like him so much because, you know, he was kind of raping women.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I kind of essentially did the equivalent of I spat in his soup."
Yeah.
So I think that makes him look worse because he just admitted he knew about all that stuff and took the money anyway, is what he just admitted. So
yeah, that's what he said. But it was really funny seeing people make fun of those, and that'd be a fun segment to do for this show if we could pull up some of those satirical little Donnie tweets, the ones where people made them up, and he's like, "Hey, little Donnie, you know, I did something gross to myself. How do you like them apples?" You know, even though it doesn't affect little Donnie in any way.
"Little Donnie, I went dumpster diving for diapers today."
"How you like them apples, little Donnie?" "I found a big fat diaper and I smudged my face in it. How do you like that, Donnie?" That's kind of the stuff it was that it was. But
don't use the poopy ones, because that's how you get sick.
That's right. Anybody else has anything to say about that, little Donnie? But yeah, the Ark of the Covenant, Raiders of the Lost Ark, great film. Hey, guess what, guys? We got some stickers coming. So if you see our background behind us here, we're going to have some stickers available for sale. We're going to try to fund a little bit of the upgrade of some of the equipment. Maybe we can get some headphones and some
sticky situation.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that a reference to Ron Perlman's handshake?
If it's sticky from just that, might have some other issues going on.
But we're gonna have these stickers. They're gonna be 4-inch by 4-inch stickers, and we'll do them for what, I don't know. We'll tell you how much they are. It won't be much. It'll be like 2 for $4 or something like that, shipped or something like that. That'd be fair, wouldn't it? But I don't know. We'll figure that out. It'd be a cool sticker.
Do it through. What about t-shirts? Well, maybe we could use the stickers to fund the t-shirts.
Yeah, that might be an idea.
I know a guy doing t-shirts.
Yep. Know a couple guys.
Yeah. Well, you probably know local ones, don't you?
Couple, yeah.
So I think with the t-shirts and stuff, there's different payment systems. I'd say all that new stuff, even though I'm, constantly raging against the machine, so to speak. All that Venmo and Cash App and stuff's pretty convenient.
Yeah. Well, it'd be nice to have us some headphones so we could talk to guests and all hear everything together. And I mean, that's really what we need. And maybe even.
So if all of us had headphones, would that solve a lot of problems?
Yeah. So if we had a headphone amp or a headphone, it wouldn't have to be a headphone amp, just be an interface to where we could run out 3 headphones. That would solve a lot of our echo problems and a lot of our audio issues. And there's a lot of stuff we could add to. But yeah, if you want to get some of these products from us, we would look at doing t-shirts. We'd have to kind of do a smaller run of those because I don't think we would really sell that many of them at first. Eventually, maybe, but. To get a good price on them, you kind of have to get quite a few t-shirts, so maybe we'll do a smaller one of those. Michael Crow says I'll get some stickers and put one on my guitar case. Sweet.
What kind of guitar, Crow?
Tell us about it.
Brag about that guitar. Is that your amp still working, right? It's gonna take him a minute to get to it.
T-shirts, yeah.
He had went over to his house and he had, I can't remember what kind of head he had. He was having issues just with the volume stuff, and it was literally a dirty pot. And thank heavens, because anybody that does amp work and stuff right now, they've been backed up pre-pandemic. Yeah. So imagine how, because it's not even it's not like it's a very specific job to work on tube amps and stuff. It's not something people like to do.
Yes, it's a
Petrucci Majesty, and the amp is working good.
Cool.
Sweet.
Petrucci
Majesty. You're playing like Petrucci.
When's the last time
you got a shredder, Michael?
Played together?
It's been way too long, but it's been
jam session, Crow.
My metal chops are next to nothing.
We jammed in your basement. We were trying to write some of that stuff. The ba.
I forgot all about that.
I had a friend come over and I tried to play some of his metal riffs and stuff, and my speed picking was not even up enough to snuff it to keep up with him at all. It was pretty embarrassing, really, because I hadn't played anything.
It was just stylistic.
Well, no, it was. I just haven't had. I used to be able to pick a whole lot faster with my right hand and
lose your cable again, don't you?
Oh, okay.
You don't think it's just a stylistic problem?
Well, yeah, I've got out of the habit of playing that style, and I've still played a little thrash metal and stuff. Occasionally I'll play a Megadeth song or a Metallica song or an Iron Maiden song or something like that. But that's probably all the metal I've really been playing. It's kind of older thrash, and I hadn't let my chops go to nothing.
There's a lot of different techniques and stuff too. A lot of that thrashy stuff is a lot of downs, and then if you metalcore, for example, they use a lot of that reverse, which is you hit off the D string before you go back to the thicker D string, because you usually drop D.
Well, I was trying to play more technical death metal.
Oh, well, I'm pretty rusty on that myself. I'd stuck that up real bad.
So yeah, I couldn't really keep up, but. I haven't played anything like that much lately. I've been playing that old Telecaster we looked at the last video.
Stupidly heavy song, just for the hell of it.
Okay.
And record it. Something uncharacteristically heavy that just doesn't make sense, or maybe not. And then do something really, really stupid
with pop vocals on it.
With pop vocals, I don't want to ruin. I want to turn it into baby metal.
No,
I'm not sexy enough for that. Until I can pop and lock wearing a schoolgirl outfit and people really like that shit, I'm not doing cleans over top of it.
What about disco vocals? I thought that was going to be a thing.
Oh, that's I don't want to reveal the name of that, but at some point in time, I'm going to release an album of disco metal. I just think it would be really fun. I mean, full on with the flutes and the orchestration and all and the nonsense. But
if you pre-order it now, it comes to the disco ball.
Artisanal disco balls made at the same warehouse as Tammy's Artisanal Toys.
That's right.
I finally looked at the right camera. It's taking me all night. I've been looking at that one all night.
It's a habit of that one.
Yeah, it's easy. This is the one you want to look at where it's kind of staring at us right here. Look, are we showing our screen here? I mean, I like the wide angle there, but I don't have the studio set up to look as cool from that side as from this side. Well, we're missing Miss U2 tonight. She's been with us the last few live shows, but she's not here tonight. I hope she might chime in. But maybe she'll see this in the post and comment on it. We want to thank y'all for joining us.
She'll immediately unsubscribe when she sees the first thing we're talking about is adult baby diaper lovers.
That's why we put those things at the beginning. We like to have like a filter. Like if you can't handle the adult baby diapers,
then you don't deserve to hear us try to talk about.
Well, you don't know. I mean, you don't know what
our fringy cringe.
That's right. Then you don't handle us at our average joke.
You can't love me when I'm cringe. You can't love me at all.
There you go. But we love you. And I'm looking at the wrong camera. We love you. Thank you for joining us. Hey, we did get up there. We got a congratulations. They're telling us they want us to monetize and stuff. But I'd really rather not monetize the channel. But I would like to get some money to put into it and make it better for everybody. So
password no more.
Yeah, well, fuck that.
If you monetize it, you can't say it.
I think you can't say it within like the first 30 seconds or something like.
Or there's I know the 30-second thing. I thought there was something else. Like if you use too many.
In case it's more people that just don't know me personally. I don't really cuss that much. Like I can control. Like I can put on church tongue. You know what I'm saying? Wait, that's Sweet Home Alabama when they're talking about how much tongue they should use when kissing at the wedding altar. See, that's my brain. I'm pretty sure it's that movie.
I do accidentally, like sometimes at work though, I'll accidentally catch myself cussing. And
I can catch myself. I'd say like pandemic era kind of ruined that because I was not around people. So, you know what I'm saying? Like you just get used to letting it fly. But I mean, but it's a podcast. It's goofy. I really honestly don't want people hanging out that want to like argue and stuff. You can't handle a little foul language. Oh, language warning.
Like we said, it's a place to hang out. That's the whole idea of this podcast.
Yeah, so
is we're gonna hang out and we're gonna talk about things that we think are important or that we think are cool.
And sometimes Cliff's gonna bring you great relevant information, and sometimes I'm going to make you sit through a man wearing diapers.
Yeah, it's not always going to be the same thing. I mean, we started off with one idea in mind, and then we've kind of branched out because. I don't want to be that guy trying to ring the alarm bell all the time. You know, if I find something that's important, then I'll share it. And that's again part of why we started the podcast. But at the same time, there's a lot of cool stuff out there too, and there's neat stuff. And there's a lot of people that are ringing the alarm bell all the time. We don't have to be that. I think we're trying to look at it from
kind of like becoming trendy.
Yeah.
To, be.
And I think we're doing that for our area. I think if there's things like that in our area. Well, that was the very first
motivation you had was the smart pole being put in downtown Johnson City. That is a local subject.
And we've talked about the World Economic Forum, and we've talked about, all these different powers that be, as it were, that are trying to bring all these different things down on us. And we've got into a lot of that, but I don't want to be in that every week and just be gloom and doom all the time, or trying to tell you what to do all the time, because I don't know what
Oh yeah, I'm totally going to tell city folk they can't vote, and then admit that I don't read in the same hour and a half show.
Dalton's gassing geese.
Y'all should just laugh. That's what. Yeah, exactly. Gassing the geese. That is such a weird story.
What's your profession? I'm a goose gasser.
Like they had a company that was going to come gas the geese. We'll catch them, just put them down. That was one of the motivations for me to leave psychology. Was that I briefly was a part of, they called it a study. Like you don't actually work there, you have to go through all the training and stuff. But like I was briefly a part of a study at the VA where they, like underneath it, like they got like stuff that connects the university and stuff to the guns in the street. But underneath they have like rat studies and stuff. One day I was when I was doing like my thing where they let you go through and like, and here's this room, and here's this room, and they were showing me the kill room, which is like, and they were telling me, she tells me straight up, she's like, now don't worry, if you don't want to kill mice, you don't have to. She was like, it's one of those things, we'll let you off the hook. And as she's telling me, don't worry, you don't have to kill mice if you don't want to, I watched two students as they're literally talking about like their morning bagel or something, put this giant tank of mice down, put a hose on and crank it up, and the guy literally leans on the tank and just starts talking to the dude like it's a Call of Duty conversation. And I was like, man, I know mice are rodents, and I won't hesitate to put a trap to catch one if it's in my house or something, but there's something about like just
growing them to gas them.
Just literally gassing about 40 of them in a setting because we're done
with these guys.
studying on that. Maybe maybe we can't have antibiotics and stuff like that unless we do hellacious things like that. But like, I know I couldn't.
Well, we talked about Nazi. A lot of the modern medical field and a lot of the modern medicine that's practiced today come from the studies of Mengele. A lot of his studies led to modern medicine.
Well,
we don't like to talk about it a lot, but
my misassumption about Jack the Ripper, what you were talking about before Jack the Ripper, was you said that there was a lot of you said that you thought Benjamin Franklin's was medical studies on dead bodies, right?
Yeah, that's my guess.
Because at that point in time, what year is that, you think?
No, I mean the mid 1700s. He was an old man by 1776.
Yeah, like when were they allowing people to finally start working on bodies? Because even like what was it, the Nick, whatever that show's about, one of the very first hospitals, he even came out later on that they were buying bodies because you literally can't learn about the human body without cutting one open and looking inside. And now you're expecting people to do operations without practicing the operation first. And I'm just wondering at what point in time it became. Now I know that at the movie Gangs of New York, whatever time period, that was Civil War, so it's still illegal then because that was Civil War era because they were selling bodies.
Huh. I'm not sure then.
Check it out. I want to figure out when it was legal for medical professions to finally use corpses to study.
I'm pretty sure they were doing it in England.
They were doing like old stuff. I think it
had to be.
I guess it's sort of like that.
Maybe it wasn't illegal, and maybe he was selling. Maybe like it wasn't illegal, but he was still selling the dead bodies.
Maybe it's only certain circumstances where it was legal or something.
Well, in the movie,
if you go just randomly, like this people that would buy corpses of the people, the grave robbers, just go, they go scope out the graveyard and it's like, hey, old Ethel over here just got put in here yesterday.
Yeah.
She'll still be fine.
Well, in the movie, he finds a boat that got attacked by like a rival gang or something. They can't make money off the sale, so he takes the dead bodies to the university and they sell them there. I'm just wondering if it was illegal then or if he was it's black market body is why it was illegal. That's just really got me curious. At what point did we wisen up and go, hey, wait a second, our doctors probably need to be able to look at corpses? That's all I'm wondering.
I don't know. That may be a good question for an episode that we do on Frankenstein.
We're going to do an episode on Frankenstein?
I don't know. Maybe we could. Yeah, I was a teenage Frankenstein. Yeah, that would be an interesting one to do.
Did you know a lot of the old monster movies, like when it was like King Kong versus Godzilla, it was originally supposed to be Godzilla versus Frankenstein. And they realized that Frankenstein was so amazingly puny. Right?
It's those King Kong versus...
Yeah, I know, but the original script was Frankenstein versus Godzilla.
King Kong.
No.
Frankenstein versus King Kong? That would make more sense. King Kong was not that big.
Yeah, I know, but if you think about the script, at the end of the script, King Kong gets electrocuted and gets stronger because they didn't change the script. And everybody's like, why did King Kong get electrocuted in the power lines and suddenly get stronger?
Right.
And because they realized, even King Kong was only 30 feet tall.
Yeah, he climbed the Empire State Building and was like swatting planes, but like Godzilla was like 400 feet tall.
Yeah.
So he would have been like a third of the height of the Empire State Building.
So I just thought that was funny that originally it was supposed to be like Frankenstein at 7 foot tall, looked like Shaquille O'Neal about to fight a Gundam.
Well,
I think actually the old Godzilla was 168 meters.
Was it like first movie?
So it's pretty close to 400 feet, then.
No, was it meters or was it?
Yeah, that would sound right. 168 meters. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Are you doing that metric conversion in your head? Because I'm just going to tell you right now, I can't do that.
Yeah, it checks out. But yeah, no, in the Japanese version of King Kong versus Godzilla, then Godzilla won, and in the American version, King Kong won.
I like the Japanese version better.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, they released it in theaters in both countries, and they had different ending on it. But yeah,
the American one pissed me off because I was like, "There's no way King Kong could have beat Godzilla."
Yeah, no shit, dude.
You got electrocuted, man.
I don't care.
I was like, Godzilla
has radioactive breath.
Yeah, in the first King Kong movie, he gets taken out by bullets on a plane, and here, like the Godzilla movies, are like launching rockets off the ships at him, and it can't hurt him. But Godzilla can, but King Kong can because he gets caught in some power lines.
They're both just misunderstood and end up fighting for their countries to the death. How about that? Well, hey guys, if you want some of those stickers, they look just like our
this thing.
Our thing behind us
Thank
there.
you, Wilbur.
So yeah, Wilbur got us some of those ready, and we'll get you those out, and we'll let you know how to get those the next episode. So be ready for those, and we'll look into getting some T-shirts done. See what that's going to look like. We want to thank you for joining us. If you made it this long and you haven't subscried yet, what's the matter with you? Hit the button, hit the notification bell. Come back with us on
And then you
Wednesday night.
subscribe, and we'll know what's wrong with you.
Yeah, that's
We'll
right.
Confirm it.
Yeah, it will confirm all our suspicions
Yeah, I got
about
a
you.
psychologist here, so
No, I'm gonna drop out.
you probably know more than.
You probably had more schooling than most psychologists, but anyway, we'll make a pretty good guess as to what we think is the matter with you, and keep it to ourselves. We swear, because privacy. But anyway, thank you for joining us. It's nice to have you here, and I'm not sure what we'll talk about next weekend, but at some point, I think we should talk about Frankenstein.
Are we still gonna do
We'll
a
throw
King of the
that
Hill?
together.
Yeah, we'll throw it together just like
All right, you'll
our
always be
grandfather Frankenstein. Yes, yeah, Dustin has always got a pun for you.
I can be your rat name.
I can't believe that I managed to. I pulled off
Master Slap.
the Let Us Pray video. That was Dustin level pun there. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. We appreciate everybody that commented on the video, everybody that chatted with us,
Thank you for
Michael,
hanging out.
Sean, and Ben. Ben is out there. Dalton, Panzer Dragoon, AO. We appreciate.
Alpha Omega.
Crow.
It could be, yeah, Crow. Thank everybody for tuning in, and thanks for sharing this video with your friends so that we can all get together and have this conversation. And we talked about tonight, people in cities don't get to vote. Maybe we'll start to our welcome.
Specifically, people in Portland this time.
Well, welcome to Appalachia could be a similar segment like this.
I'd like to welcome to Appalachia, where I can show you why I shouldn't be able to vote too.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you this Wednesday when me and Tim are going to have our news and current events roundup. Or this Wednesday at 10 p.m. Tim and I are going to have our news and current events roundup. Dustin has to work too early the next day, so he doesn't join us on those. But we'll see you then, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye.